Stalkers! I'm Kathryn DeSinaasappelen, and today I'm sharing with you 5 small but big differences that tripped me up when I first came to Europe. Number 1. One of the best ways that I've been told to work on your lingual skills is cooking, because recipes are a good way and a fun way to learn a language. However, the lingual barrier that you're going to have, that's not going to be your biggest problem. No. The biggest problem that I had was the ingredients, because sometimes they were just things that I had never used before or I didn't even know existed, like endives. I have never in my life cooked with endives before, but that is a thing in Europe. And I remember calling my mom and asking her, have you ever had endives before? And she said, yeah, sure. It's what we used to decorate the salad bar when I worked at Burger King. So that's sort of different, and it sort of trips you up because sometimes they'll ask for an ingredient and you need to go on Google to find out what it is. The second problem that I had with recipes was a frame of reference. You know, I know how much a cup of flour and a cup of sugar is because it's a quantity, but in European recipes, they always have the weight. The quantity is different, and you can't visualize it. You have to weigh it out. And the biggest problem I had was with butter, because the way butter is sold in America is different than the way butter is sold in Europe, because it's just this big slab versus 4 servings of butter. But there's a huge learning curve when you're cooking in Europe. Number 2. So when I list the days of the week, I start with Sunday because that's the first day. And in Europe, they start it with Monday. And you might be thinking, well, that's not a big difference. It is when you're using the computer, because the computer, the first day is listed is Monday. And so if you're planning out your week and you're thinking that the first day listed is Sunday, yeah, you're gonna screw up your whole week, and it sucks. So be aware of that. Number 3. In America, I think everybody knows that we write the month before the day, and in Europe, they don't. But see, here's the whole difference that I would say is that typically, not all the time, but typically in any given situation that I had to write out the day, we learn to write out the month. And I don't think I've ever seen that in Europe, albeit I haven't had a lot of opportunity to write out dates, but whenever I have, it's always just been the numbers. Number 4. So you know when you go to the grocery store and you find 2 products and you're not sure which one to buy, so you go and look at the nutritional information. Yeah, that is sort of formatted and colored differently than in America, but the most annoying thing that I have about the nutritional information in Europe is that they never include the vitamins or minerals found in that product, unless that product comes from England. For example, I get yogurt, and yogurt is normally something that has vitamin D, and I have literally looked through all the yogurts in Deleuze, and none of them say whether or not it has vitamin D or vitamin C, and it's really frustrating, especially if you're making that effort to get things that have vitamins and minerals in them because you want to make sure you get them, and they're not listed, and why aren't they listed? List the vitamins and minerals, they're important. And number 5, the metric system is based off of weight, and the imperial system is based off of quantity. And you see this in small things that, at least from my perspective, I have a hard time visualizing. For a cake, for example, you might have 2 cups of flour. Well, that cup of flour that I make could be different from, say, a cup of flour that you, the viewer, makes. So there could be lots of variations in the way our cakes turn out based on how we choose to pack our cup of flour. That doesn't necessarily happen if you're cooking in Europe because it's based on weight. It's 200 grams of flour, for example. Another example of this would be the proficiency of gas. So in Europe, it's 100 liters to distance versus in America, it's a gallon to distance. And another example of this would be in distance. If you ask somebody in Europe how far is it to Brussels, they will give you the exact distance from where they live to Brussels. Versus if you ask somebody in America, they give you an answer in time. So from my mom's house to Pittsburgh, it's an hour. And I have absolutely no idea how much it would be in miles because it's an hour. While I do recognize the proficiency in the metric system, I don't know how it would translate when you have a system based on quantity versus a distinct number. That's my list. If you will live abroad, I'd be very interested to know what little small differences have big impacts on your life, so tell me in the comments below. All my social links are in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Totes scenes, my apple scenes. I forgot to shoot an outro for this video that I'm editing, which is why you're now in my office and I'm wearing different clothes. I'm planning a frequently asked questions series and I'm collecting your questions to answer. So if you have anything you want to know, ask it in the comments below and I might choose it and answer it in the future. Bye guys! See you next time!